Hey guys, what's up? It's Justin, aka Diego, and I am going to talk about prop paladins. Big fucking surprise. Um, so they on MMO they just released a lot of changes about prop paladins. Actually, if you see here in the background, they have this whole blue post, and it's just basically addressing about prop paladins. And in case you guys didn't know this, there were a couple things. I mean, they basically kind of just didn't they came out with 31 point talents. They gave us a little tease. They gave us some stuff. And they go, we're probably going to do this. But in the back of their minds, they were like, we're going to change it probably. And we need to address them, but we just don't know how. So we're just going to give them something for now for them to chew on. So it definitely sounds like they have pretty much built a model for tanking that they are going to design around. So it definitely sounds like they have their foundation into place. And let's talk about some of the changes that they've done. So, Shield of the Righteousness, or righteousness, Shield of the Righteous. It now consumes Holy Power. So Holy Power is still the same, still get a maximum of 3 stacks. Now, if you didn't know this, is they actually took it out of the beta for a couple days because they didn't really know how. They didn't really find a niche for it. They're like, how are we going to put this in there? They have a lot of abilities, and can we find a place for this? Can we find a home for this? Well, they did. And basically how it works now is I'll tell you how it works after I tell you how Holy Shield now works. Holy Shield is now a passive ability and causes your Shield of the Righteous to provide 5% block per holy power consumed. So that means whenever you use Shield of the Righteous per holy power, not only is it going to hit harder per holy power, but you're going to get that 5% block per holy power that Holy Shield was going to give you originally. So the one of the things that I want to talk about and address is Holy Shield used to be a 1-minute cooldown. And from my inside source, my guy who is playing the beta, who has a beta key, and I still haven't gotten one, fuckers. He said before this change it was still 30% block, and then obviously with the holy power it was 30, 35, 40, 45, so a maximum of 45% block. So now with it being passive, does that mean that the block percent is going to be passive as well? Meaning we're going to be walking around with 30% block. That to me that sounds very unbalanced. And I was screaming about imbalances again about warriors. Now I'm going to scream about a balance against paladins. And granted, I was biased because I don't play a warrior, and I was like, oh, this is unbalanced. This should change. But I do play a paladin, and I'm going to say, if we're able to walk around with that extra 30% block, that is really going to be too overpowered. They're probably going to change it, but I wouldn't imagine it stay the same because, I mean, even if I don't know exactly how much block we're going to lose through leveling and with all the talent changes and everything like that, but keep in mind, mastery, our second mastery is going to give us increased block rating. So more mastery get, more block rating we get. So we're going to have naturally high block rating just for being a tank. And not to mention, if this stays the way and flies the way it's going to be, we're going to have even more, tack on another 30%. And then when we get the 3 holy power, and then we use Shield of the Righteous, we're going to have an extra 15%. I don't know. So what do you guys think about that? Let's talk about that topic real quick. You guys think that's unbalanced? I mean, sure, everyone's going to be like, that's awesome. We're fucking going to be mitigating damage all over the place. I think that's awesome if it stays, but it's probably going to change. So don't get on a high horse. Don't get your hopes up. But so on to the other things that changed. Hammer of the Righteous now generates holy power, but shares a cooldown with Crusader Strike. That right there should let you know that Hammer of the Righteousness for multi-target, Crusader Strike for single target. Let's hope they both hit the same. And it also says that talents in the prot tree or ret tree that affect one are going to affect the other. So whatever buffs Crusader Strike damage is also going to buff Hammer of the Righteous damage. Whether it's going to say it in the tooltip, we don't know yet. It probably won't for a while until they actually update the tooltips and shit. But so they said if it's going to buff one, it's going to buff the other. So that's cool. Avenger's Shield, they didn't change. Anyway, next. Vindication can now only be applied through Crusader Strike and Hammer of the Righteousness. It used to be Holy Wrath. I didn't talk about that. But Holy Wrath used to be able... They wanted to give us like an AoE demo shout or demo roar that the druids and warriors have. But they're like they took that back, and now it's Crusader Strike and Hammer of the Righteousness. Still good. We still need to apply that debuff, so we're still gonna do it in our normal rotation. So and they also adjust that they don't think Holy Wrath is now going to be used by prots. Maybe for some snap AOE threat, but not in single target rotation. And if they would have kept it the way it was, we would have had the Holy Wrath. Provided we were the only tank in the raid that could apply that debuff, we would have the Holy Wrath on single target, which kind of would suck because I bet it's going to be a predominant AOE tanking ability, and it probably was going to hit like a fucking washcloth on single target. So Consecration, big nerf, big change here, guys. Listen to this. It's now it lasts for 10 seconds, but it has a 30-second cooldown. That's a pretty big deal. So they said that they are going to, remember how I said they're going to address AOE tanking, and I was like, they're not going to do it. They haven't done it. Look at all these AOE buffing talents. So they did it. So Consecrate now is 30-second cooldown with a 10-second duration. So we can't keep it up 100% of the time on trash or bosses. So it's going to be a situational type use. I don't know how the rotation is going to work out, but if we have no other buttons to push and single target, we're probably going to use Consecrate. But on AoE, it's obviously going to be one of our higher priority attacks. We want to get that on cooldown as soon as possible, obviously. But, so that kind of sucks. So, yeah. So, hey, all you fucking mages that love fucking blizzarding and fucking living bombing everything, watch your fucking AoE threat, bitch. I'm drunk. So, they hinted at a rotation. Single target rotation is going to be Judgment, Crusader Strike, Shield of Righteousness, and Avenger Shield. Keep in mind that Grand Crusader, it says it up here. It says both Crusader Strike and Hammer of the Righteous can proc Grand Crusader. You didn't know that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it has a chance to reset your Avenger Shield cooldown, or maybe it's just lower it. I don't know. So, excuse me. And multi-target are Judgment, Consecration, Hammer of the Righteousness, a 3-person cleave, and Shield of Righteousness, Avenger Shield, and possibly Exorcism. I don't know about why they said Exorcism, because I still think it's going to have a cast time. Like I said, you don't want to cast as a tank, because one, it stops your auto attack, and two, you can't dodge, block, or parry. So, we'll talk about, but, so, with those abilities, I mean, with the single target, they listed 4 abilities, and now we have 5. So, they took one ability out in our predominant rotation. Keep in mind that we're probably going to use an Inquisition, maybe, I don't know, and then, defenses and Word of Glory and stuff like that. We could probably work those into our rotation if we do have some sort of gap or something. But so that's basically it, guys. They had a couple of questions that they answered and stuff, but you guys can read that for yourselves on MMO. Post any comments or questions if you guys want to talk about it in the goddamn shit below. Peace out. Later.